All right, hello, welcome to today's team call. I hope it is recording. All right, we're good. Welcome to today's team call. It is August 24th, and I'm so freaking excited that you're here. Thank you for spending time with me tonight. I'm super pumped about tonight's team call. But before we dive into that, oh my gosh, y'all, one of these days I'm going to figure out technology, but that day's not today. I want to welcome all these brand new coaches to the team. You took a chance on you. You said yes to your health and fitness journey. You are taking that next step, and I'm so freaking proud because this is an opportunity for you to change everything if you take action. So welcome Tracy, Travis, Allison, Danielle, Peyton, Courtney, Kaylee, Jessica, JC, Megan, Roxanne, Kelly, Kristen, Tina, Tyson, Tara, Paige, Becca, Lindsay, Allison, Jenna, Carrie, Kevin, Alec, Mallory, Andrew, Trista, Christine, and Sharon. Woohoo! Yay, yay, yay. Welcome to the team. All right, Success Club rock stars. Whoa, baby. Check this board. These ladies have already locked in their trip to, that's the wrong picture. They already locked in their trip on the float trip. They already locked in their spot on the float trip, if I can speak. So shout out to Kyra, me, Mandy, Amy, Ashley Beck is who that's supposed to be, and Michelle. We also have plenty of people on the board, and there's still plenty of time to lock this in. So keep pushing, keep kicking ass. This final week of this month, I will be working beside anyone who wants to reach those goals. So be sure to reach out to me if you do want to push and lock in any specific goals by the end of the month. That's what the last week of my month is for. It's to help you. What to know? Our August rewards trip is a floating turkey run. I hope you can be there. We had absolutely so much fun last weekend, on Saturday hiking. It was seriously the best. So let's do the damn thing. Let's hit these goals and let's enjoy a day on the river. All right, next up is Find Your Fire Coach Mentorship. Since it is the end of the month, we will be kicking that off at the beginning of the month. So any new coaches, get them plugged in. You yourself, get plugged in. The whole point of this is so that every single month you can lock in your Success Club points right off the bat. If you take action, if you watch the videos, even if you've seen them a million times, you will still learn something new and you will still be able to hit your goals. But if you don't take it seriously, you won't. So this is me just kind of saying, get your ass there. Lastly, lean into a boot camp. Are you plugged into a boot camp right now? Are you hosting a boot camp? Are you just kind of hanging out, like not sure what to do with your hands? Lean in. If you want success in your own fitness journey, you have to lean in. If you want success in your business, you have to lean in. We weren't meant to do life alone. So let's be friends, okay? What to know for Beachbody? Y'all mark your calendars because Pumpkin Spice hits the online site September 2nd, and I don't know if you've been around here or not, but it is the next best thing since sliced bread, and it sells out. Like literally, it sells out every single time. So you definitely want to get your hands on Pumpkin Spice. You need to put it in your calendar. You need to make sure you're talking about it now so that your audience is aware, because the second is like literally right around the corner. Next is Virtual Super Weekend will be November 7th. This is me asking you, would you love to do something local meetup? If so, drop it in the chat because I'm happy to plan something so we can watch it virtually but actually be together. But I don't want to plan that if that's not something you're interested in. Lastly, for Beachbody events, there is a discount on Recharge. They're going to have a 10% off sale August 25th through 27th. So this is the perfect time to grab some. Okay. Now, tonight's team call is all about creating content when you're ordinary. And you're probably like, excuse me, what? When you're ordinary? What does that even mean? But raise your hand if the story you tell yourself is, I'm too boring. Raise your hand if you tell yourself, I have nothing to share. Raise your hand if you tell yourself, well, they don't care about me, right? Like, don't come at me, bro. Tonight, we're going to be facing those truths. We're going to be throwing the lies out the window, and I'm going to show you how you can kind of think outside the box, because I do understand that even though I can tell you that ordinary is perfectly fine, it does take a marketing mind a little bit to see how you can turn your ordinary into your superpower. So let me close this curtain because I'm afraid of the dark, and it's like wide open, and you know, give me a second.
Okay. We like scream.
Now that no murderers can look in the mirror and see me, we're good to go. Okay, let me screen share this real quick, and we will start this party. It is going to be kind of hands-on, so make sure you have a pen and paper handy. I will be pop quizzing and asking questions. I actually want to help you work through this as we go. So let's get ready, y'all. Boop, boop, boop. Hold on, I'm going to stop share because I want to be able to see your faces. That way I can actually call you out. Okay, here we go. Yay! All right. So average Joe inspo. Let's just say that's where we're at, right? Like, raise your hand if you are an average Joe. Drop it in the comments like totally average, because that's me. I am so regular, it's not even funny. There's like nothing super special about me. And I know people might be like, oh, that's so negative self-talk. Bullshit, it's not, it's truth. Like, I'm not saying it as a negative thing, and I can own my regular and be freaking proud of it. If you're tearing yourself down, yes, that's a total different story, but I'm not saying a regular in a bad way. There's nothing bad about being regular. And so first, owning that and being okay with that is super, super important. I want to show you how you can help others, inspire others, and teach others when you live an absolutely boring life. And maybe you're looking at me and being like, but Deidre, your life is anything but boring. Well, y'all, that's because I'm really good at creating excitement around my life. That's because I'm really good about making sure that nothing about my life comes off as boring, right? Like, I don't want to live a boring life. And if I constantly say like, have nothing to do, XYZ, complain because my life sucks, well, guess what? That's what I'm going to see. But I don't see my life that way. Even if it's regular, even if it's ordinary, it's awesome because I'm making that way. So, first step into this, can you guys hear me? Yeah? Yeah, okay. First step in this little journey is you got to own your gangster. You really have to own who you are as a person, and you really have to accept that, because truth is, if you don't accept you for who you are, then, I mean, you're always going to look at yourself as not good enough, right? When we're kind of leaning into this, we run a fine line of comparison, of self-judgment, and the stories we tell ourselves. So it's time for you to really level up into owning your gangster and being who you are meant to be. Being totally okay, being yourself. So what makes you you, right? Like, there's so many things, and a lot of the times when you're going to look at social media, if you're going to YouTube, if you're not, this is me saying, if you want to learn something, then you need to learn how to go to Google, right? So if you're struggling with, how do I share on social media? How do I create content on social media? How do I discover my brand? How do I discover my avatar? If you've asked me all those questions and you've never Googled them, this is me saying, why are you being so lazy, yo? Like, legit. That's because you're not trying to grow your business. And I get it, I understand, but this is me gut checking you. I wouldn't know this had I not reached out, had I not Googled, had I not YouTubed. It's going to take extra work for you on the back end. Yes, I can spend the next 2 months breaking all of this down, but the next 2 months are going to be up and down for you, right? Like, maybe you'll be real plugged in, maybe you won't. Teach yourself at your pace. First things first is we kind of got to dig into buckets. So I want to ask you, what makes you you, right? There's so many different things. And I shared here just kind of the norm. Then when I ask this question, these are the most popular that I get. Well, I have a family, right? Like, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're engaged, whether you have a kid, whether you have a bunch of kids, whether you're struggling with infertility, whether you're adopting, you have some sort of family dynamic. You have some sort of family aspect, something that you're facing through this situation, right? So family, marriage, kids, that's one bucket, let's say. Then another common bucket that I get when I'm talking to new coaches is health and fitness. Well, I'm on a health journey. That's literally what I'm doing. But the struggle with that is, how do you share authentically? How do you share your fitness and your nutrition and your personal growth without it every day being a sweaty selfie saying, look, I did it, right? Like, how do you share that? Yes, it's a part of you, but it's not the only part of you. And I think that that's super, super important. You have to be more than health and fitness. Yes, it can be a part of you, but it can't be the only thing that you are. Because what happens if you lose it? What happens if you break your leg and you can't work out, right? You will be lost. And so I think that that's super important. The third thing that I get told a lot when I'm asking, hey, what's your bucket, is their occupation. What's your job? What do you do outside in the real world? What is your 9 to 5? What do you go do? How does that look? Is there any, this is me asking you a question now, is there any other human, I want you to put in the chat what you do for your 9 to 5, like me, stay-at-home mom, right? Like, that's my job. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I want you in the chat to write down what you do, what your job is, what your job title, etc., etc. And then I want you to say yes or no, is there any other human in this entire world who has the same job as you? And I ask that because a lot of the times we don't think of our occupation as anything more than just that, right? Like, it's, oh yeah, that's what I do and it's fine. No one else understands that, right? Like, for me, I'm a stay-at-home mom and nobody gets to stay-at-home mom struggle. That's bullshit, because there's like 1,000,001 other stay-at-home moms, okay? So I just kind of want to clear the water there. So now, here's where your piece of paper comes in handy. I want you to kind of think of things that make you happy. Or maybe you're that person who's like, well, I don't even know. I just started this journey. I know nothing about myself. I want you to think of what are some things that you would love to learn more about. And you can put them in the chat. You can write them on your notebook. You can wait to brain dump after all of this if you want. But I want to know, what are things that you like? What are things that make you happy? As you can tell, I have some of my favorite things on here. I put some things that I know some of you guys like to do, but for me, it's travel. I love adventure. I love exploring. I love hiking. I love getting outside. I'm all into budgeting. We are on a debt-free journey, and so just kind of being able to be in that season of life. Right now, we're digging into homesteading and canning and prepping our food. I love to dance. I love spending time with my family. I love reading a good book. But just because I love those things, that doesn't mean you're going to love those things, because what I don't love, this girl ain't into makeup. Fashion, $2 clothes at Walmart. Like, sign me up for that. I don't care what it looks like. Literally, if I was dressing myself, I would be like the Avril Lavigne skater girl way back in the day. Like, I still haven't outgrown that. I just ain't got the money to buy those clothes, right? Like, so I'm not into fashion. I'm not into beauty. I'm not into makeup. None of that is my thing. However, my best friend, that's exactly what she is. She's all into fashion. She loves beauty and makeup. And the cool thing is, we can be our own individual people, and I don't have to like what she likes. She doesn't have to like what I like. The other top coaches, if we look at the top coaches, right? Who do we have in the top right now? Ashley Molstead, Kelsey Hill, Melanie Mitro, Moira, Kim Fitzpatrick. When you think of all of them, and maybe you're like, I don't even know who these top coaches are. Those of you who do, when you think of them, are they anything alike? Like, Holly Hillier and Ashley Molstead could not be farther away from each other, right? Like, they're not the same. And that's the coolest thing, is every single one of those top coaches, if you look at them, they are all incredibly different. And so now I want you to take time and just ask yourself, what makes you happy? Think of those different buckets that you are. What make you who you are? And I'm going to open up the chat right now. I'm going to look at it while you guys kind of just drop different ideas, things. You can unmute yourself if you have thoughts. Average Joes, yes, I'm here for it. Gangster. Amy is a stay-at-home mom.
Thank you, Amy.
Wine, travel, food, music, adventures. Man, Natalie, you're my person. Decorating is a good one. Decorating, yes. Adventure, fitness, clothing, hair, motherhood, all the food. Sign me up to be a foodie. Like, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Give me all the food. Okay, so there's some great ideas. You're not a foodie. No, just feed me. So there's some great ideas and different things. And I think like I said, there's so many different ways you can go, right? Like if you go to your Instagram, you can see people who do hula hoop, people who are total video gamers. Like there's so many, like there's such a wide variety of people out there. And I think really owning your taste, owning who you are meant to be. Y'all, I live in a little bitty small town, right? Like being loud, that was never like a thing before. And I think sometimes we let how we grew up, the people around us, the towns we lived in, stop us from exploring things that we were interested in, right? Like, I didn't do that because mom said no. I didn't do that. I don't wear that because my town would be in outrage. Like, I don't do XYZ because of my surroundings. And so this is your opportunity. Like literally, this is me telling you, it's your job to try new things. It's your job to find out what makes you happy. And that's the cool thing is in your social media, you can authentically go through that. So maybe you're like, you know what? I've always wanted to try salsa dancing. And then you go to a salsa dancing class, you share about it, and you talk about it, and you create that vision for the salsa dancing, and you realize you absolutely hated it. Guess what? You've just taken your audience through that journey of you discovering whether or not you like this. And they're going to be inspired. They're going to be motivated. And if you don't like it, they're going to laugh and they're going to love it. And they're going to be like, yes, I love that she's discovering her. Right? And so really open yourself up to it. Like it's your like responsibility. It's your responsibility to really figure out who you are right here. And maybe you don't know that. This is me telling you it's your job. Now speaking past being happy, past who you are, what makes you you, still sometimes we're pretty boring, right? Like I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I stay home. Yeah, that's it. I love to travel. I love adventures, but that doesn't mean I get to go travel every day. That doesn't mean I get to go on adventures every day. And let me just be honest, budgeting is really freaking boring. Like there's not anything exciting about that, right? So my life, even though I figured out who I am and what makes me me, it's still really boring. So how can I take this really boring, simple stuff and give it to my audience in a more glamorous, more attractive way so that they can feel like they can connect, so they can feel like they can learn, so they can feel like I'm adding value to their life. This is me. I want you to right now take inventory of your day. Literally, you could put it in the chat. You could write it on your notebook paper. Tell me how your day goes. I'm going to break down mine for you, right? Like I get up early, I get up at 4 o'clock. I make my husband's breakfast. I come downstairs. I do a little bit of work. I hop on Zoom with my girls. I do my workout. I run around like a chicken with my head cut off. My kids are yelling at me that they're hungry, so I go make them food. I finally make me food. Maybe I get a shower if I'm lucky. Maybe I don't. And then I will clean or I will work. And then guess what? My kids need fed again. And then I do odds and ends around the house. And then my kids need fed again. I've got to figure out something for dinner. And then I got to work at some point in there. Like, there's nothing exciting about my day. It's pretty freaking boring. So I want you to think of how you spend your days, though. What does your average day look like? How do you show up? Do you have daily rituals that you do? Because this is when we get to start digging in. Me, I have a daily ritual. What I just told you, from 4 o'clock in the morning to 9:30 in the morning, it's always the same thing. Not much changes, right? If I get sidetracked by social media, then it changes a little bit. But that's my daily ritual. Those are my routines. However, when I first started this journey, I didn't just know that. Like, I didn't just decide, like, okay, I'm going to have a morning routine and this is how I'm going to show up and this is what's going to change my life. No, it took a lot of time to learn that. So, you know what I can share with my audience is every single day, those little bitty takeaways. How do I get up early? What are the tips and tricks that I can share with them? Why do I get up early? Why does it matter? How does getting on the Zoom in the morning make a difference? What does my morning routine look like? How does a grateful journal make a difference? How do you do a grateful journal? All these little things, they did not come easy. They took a lot of learned hard work, and I learned it through my own research, my own self-discovery, my own personal growth. But what I can do is I can save my audience a whole hell of a lot of time because they're already following me. They already watch me. So why not let me be the person who's teaching them how to do this? Why am I making them wait to go listen to everything by Rachel Hollis or everything by Keisha Fitzgerald or everything by Trent Shelton? Why am I making them go read a million personal development books that I've already read and I already know the tools for the miracle morning, right? Like, why make them go through the hard work when I can be that person? I can be the lighthouse and show them the way. I can literally light it up for them. Even thinking through that, think of every single thing that you use, that you do, etc., etc., etc. Do you have certain tools, certain clothes that you absolutely love that help you throughout your day? So for example, I love Fabletics. Every time I get Fabletics, I share about that shit. Like, I share the deals. I share why I love them. I show them off. They are my favorite workout leggings ever. When I get cute workout clothes, guess what I'm going to share? I'm going to share my workout clothes, right? A couple months ago, one of my social media connects, like somebody I follow, she shared this knife set. It was like $10. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with it. I use it every day. I don't wash my dishes every day, but I make sure I wash those damn knives every day because they're sharp and they're cute and they're cheap. You know what? My audience loves cheap and efficient, right? So that's something that I can share with them. I can say, oh my gosh, and every time I use it, I can talk about this in my stories. All these little bitty things. I'm a busy mom. My days are chaos. I spend all day cooking. So what are simple tools that I can share with my audience so that those other busy moms can connect with that? What are my easy recipes that I use? Do I have a cookbook that I follow? Because tonight I shared an easy ravioli, like it's called lazy lasagna recipe. Oh my gosh, it was so good and so simple. And my audience is going to connect with that because they want quick, efficient, healthy, family approved, right? What are these little tools that you can have and that you use day to day? Do you have a certain cup, maybe a water jug? Do you have a certain Spotify station? Do you have sunglasses that you got from the store that you are totally obsessed with? Do you have some app that you use to track your calories or your water or whatever it is that you're doing? Do you have super exciting yellow drink that amps you up and gets you ready for the day, right? Like, what is it that you have that's going to help your audience? Find the solutions for them. Take inventory of your day to show them what they can do. And I bring this up because I had a one-on-one last week and we really talked about that. She's like, I switched to working at home and it's weird and I don't really do anything special. And so we kind of walked through that season of her life. That's what she's going through right now. And she talked about how when she first went to working at home, she worked in the kitchen. But you know what that resulted in? That resulted in her eating all the time because the fridge was literally staring at her. So I asked her, okay, what did you do to combat that? How did you overcome that? She said, I moved my entire office to the back room, the opposite side of the house, right? How many other people switched to working at home, right? Like, so many other people switched to working at home. How many other people are struggling with facing the refrigerator because the kitchen table is the only place for them to work, right? How many other people are eating because they're bored? How many other people are going to their fridge just because it's there? This little bitty switch of, hey, I moved my office out of sight, out of mind, and that's something that she can share with her audience to add value. But then the struggle was, well, now I'm not eating enough. So I asked her, okay, what are you going to do to make sure that you're eating all the food? Are you packing your food? Are you meal prepping? Are you setting food timers? Are you every 50 minutes getting up and dancing around your room so you don't feel like you're trapped in your dungeon? Like, what are those little bitty things that seem very insignificant to you but make the biggest difference in the long run? Remember, results don't come because of one big hoorah. Results come because of every little baby step you're taking. These baby steps, they are the baby steps of gold. And that's what you can share with your audience. It's every little baby step that you're taking. So take inventory of your day, break it down. Think about this. This is something that I want you to take time to do later as well. You really have to think about it. Do you have a favorite makeup that you love? That you have dry shampoo that you love? Like, what are those things? Are you that person who uses the Diva cup? I don't know. Like, those are all little things that women would use in their day-to-day life that we don't even think about sharing, right? Okay, so how can you share your experience? I gotta get my corona up. It's okay. How can you share your experience to inspire other people? What are you doing daily to focus and grow in your specific buckets? What does it look like to you, and where are you going? And so I ask these questions because maybe you don't have you figured out yet, but more than likely you have goals in life, right? More than likely you know where you want to go. More than likely you know what you want to focus on, or you know what you don't love in your life. So for me, my family was my big gut check. I did not love the way that it was working out. Like, it wasn't what I imagined it to be. I was struggling with postpartum, never saw my husband, la-di-la-di-la. I felt so disconnected. I felt so lost. And so what did I do? I used my platform to grow myself. And you know what I was able to do through that? Share that with my audience. My marriage posts, oh my gosh, they blow up, right? And you'll tell when me and Kenny aren't really connected. You'll tell when we're not getting date nights, because guess what I'm not sharing? I'm not sharing that stuff, right? The thing is, if you want to grow in it, you get to choose it. You get to say, hey, every week we're having a date night. And then you get to say, hey, here's a date night idea. Hey, here's the love languages that we're learning. Hey, here's how I'm dealing with marriage with kids. Hey, here's how we spend time on adventures, even though we're working to pay off debt. Here's how we're saving money. Here's how we're paying off debt. Here's the goals that we're pushing for. I have put out there multiple times, I want to retire Kenny. I'm sharing authentically how I'm slowly changing our family's lives, creating the vision in the future for where we want to go. These are all different ideas. I can take that one bucket, the one family bucket, and I can dive into it. And I need you to do that with every one of your buckets. Everybody should have 4 to 5 buckets at least. And I want you to dive in, because each bucket, it can be like a well if you want it to be, right? Like date nights, that could be never, like marriage. Let's say marriage is my bucket. That could be never ending. I can talk about all the things, and I can include so much stuff in there. And you know what that is? Every single one of those ideas is opportunity for content. You get to create content around those ideas, around those struggles, around those successes. Everything that you want to learn or need to learn, you get to share that with your audience. Share the experience as you grow. Share the experience of what you've learned so that they can too. Wellness, for example, for me, sharing my postpartum depression, talking about how I found happiness through my health journey, talking about how I get results with kids, sharing my family-friendly foods, sharing quick and effective workouts, meal plans, recipes, tips, all that stuff. Really talking about the mindset and how it's not just physical fitness, but it's overall wellness. Talking about mental wellness. Talking about grace and having faith and giving that aspect up. Wellness and fitness isn't just working out. And this is me gut checking your ass. In the last week, how many workout posts have you had? Just be real. Like, how many fitness posts have you had? I'm going to give you a second to think on it. And now I'm going to ask you, how many nutrition posts have you had? Don't let you think on it. Just go ahead and drop it in the chat. All right, now I'm going to ask you, how many personal growth or mental health posts have you had? Okay. Now I'm going to ask you, how many grace and self-understanding posts have you had? Okay. I'm going to ask you, how's your fitness been? How's your nutrition been? How's your personal growth been? How has your faith been? Right? If you're not posting about it, you're not practicing it. And this is me calling your ass out because I need it too, friend. If you want to grow, you have to show up for it. If you want your audience to believe in it, you have to show what you're doing. Everybody, raise your hand if nutrition's your struggle, right? Nutrition! And raise your hand if you haven't talked about nutrition in over a month, right? Like, heard that loud and clear. We don't want to talk about the things that we're ashamed of, but it's our job to talk about those because it's our job to show up in those areas. If you want to change it, shout it out loud. Coaching, if anything, even if you don't make a penny, even if you don't help anyone else, changes your life. Not because you're the know-it-all, not because you got six-pack abs, but because you see where your shortcomings are. Because that accountability, when you share with your audience, makes you show up better. We were talking about this Saturday. We were talking about taking progress pictures, and there were 3 or 4 of us who were like, oh, I haven't taken any. And Kyra straight up was like, why? Every single one of us said, oh, because we aren't going to like what we see. What the fuck? It's our job, y'all. If we don't like what we're seeing, then that's our gut check. It's time to change something, right? All right, so another bucket of mine is ambition. How can I really share about that? Talking about the success through chaos, talking about routines and plans. Everybody loves when I show my routines and plans because I'm a planner. It's one of my strengths. And look, my strength can become my bucket. And just because I'm a planner doesn't mean that you're a planner, right? Like, not everyone is. Find your strengths and own that. I'm good at getting shit done. I'm great at leadership. I'm great at creating things that I want. I'm great at community. I'm great at setting goals and achieving them. And that's why ambition is one of my buckets, because I thrive in those. And why keep it to myself when I can give it to everyone else, right? It's your duty to shine your light so incredibly brightly so that others like you can find you. But if you're not sharing your buckets and you're only sharing your sweaty selfies, guess what? They don't know anything about you other than every day at 5 o'clock you get up and work out with Autumn. And that's it. Are you giving your audience who you are, or are you bragging? So let's dig into your life now, right? I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I genuinely want to talk through this. You may unmute yourself if you would love to. You don't have to, but I want you to share some of your buckets. And in your buckets, dig deep. What about your buckets makes you you? Like, for example, how I shared marriage. Talk about that. How I shared family. Talk about that. I'm going to read through some of your guys' comments. I love to cook and bake. Share the knives. All right. Nobody's got any buckets? No, there's nothing special about any of you. Nope.
I wrote down my buckets.
All right, let's hear them, dude.
Okay, so fashion, fitness, stay-at-home mom, that's a whole fucking new one. Adventure and hair, because everyone loves my changing hair, and I'm about to blow some shit up tomorrow, just so you know.
I love those, but I am going to challenge you a little bit because I feel like fashion and hair kind of go in the same categories. And I think that that's a little bit of a hard part when it comes to buckets.
Yeah.
Because things will overlap. Things will intertwine, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I want to also make sure that you're bringing, and I'm not calling you out, Amy, because you are great at posting.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure you're not just focusing on that. Because it's like sometimes when people say, I don't remember who the call was, but there was a call a while back that said in your Instagram bio, those are the things that should be heard. But if you're talking, like if in your bio it says, I love pizza, but you haven't shared about pizza in 6 months, why the fuck is I love pizza in your bio, right? Like you're not even talking about it. So I think that that's super important. Don't make them too narrow. Don't make them too broad. Make it kind of just right.
Personal growth is always a part of what I share, like every single week. So, especially right now, I'm sharing everything, all the hard, and my emotions getting through these things that I'm going through. So, and it's definitely helped me, and I hope it helps somebody else. And I hope that it's not, I'm trying to shine some light on it, but today I know, like I shared one post of like, let me just get in the car and run away. And then I shared another post of, this is what I did to help me get through these feelings today. I sat down and I brain dumped, and I did my workout, and I did something for me today. And I shared one simple 3-word thing that I came to at the end of my brain dump, and is you just move. Because that's it. That's all I can do. I can just keep moving forward, or I can stop and I can sit in this shit storm that I'm in the middle of right now, or I can just move. And like in my stories, I posted this team call because I need this right now. If I didn't have this right now, I would go in that bedroom and I would hide and I would cry. I'd hide under the blankets, and I would just try to forget that I even took on this whole health and fitness coaching gig full time, and I would just hide from the world. But I knew I needed to get on this call right now and get some shit done, because I cannot move forward if I keep sitting in the same spot. So there's that.
Sister.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay, does anybody else have buckets?
We're glad you're here.
Oh. Amen, Michelle.
I was just saying I'm glad she's here. And I started talking at the same time as you, so sorry.
Okay. Natalie, what are your buckets?
If I can unmute myself. You're always calling me out.
I saw your smile. Sorry.
Did I smile? That was more of a grimace. Sorry.
Shut up.
Mine is like family, marriage, kids, that kind of thing. Trying to bring fun into part of it, into the kids section. Health and fitness journey, designing, and then mindset, because mindset for me is a part. It's separate from my fitness stuff. So.
Okay. Now I want to ask you, what makes Natalie Natalie? Yeah, you got your family. That's great. Yeah, you got your fitness. Yeah. But what about you? When you are taking a weekend off and you don't have kids, you don't have a husband, you got all the money in the world, how you going to be spending your weekend?
Am I allowed to drink in this scenario?
Yeah, dude, this is your fun time. This is whatever makes Natalie happy. I want to hear it.
Natalie is at a winery or road tripping or literally zero plans and going somewhere with no agenda, no nothing. Like Saturday was perfect. Like we had to show up at a certain time, and then from there it was like, tell me where to go. I don't care where we go. Just send me somewhere. I don't care. That was perfect. It's what I needed really badly, because right now it's, at this time I have to wake up, and at this time the kids have to be here, and at this time I have to have, be back here so I can start work. And I don't like a rigid schedule. It's killing me slowly. So being able to get out and do the adventure thing is great. But I am not good at finding adventures on my own.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's part of like the self-discovery too. I'm just going to straight throw myself in the same category as you, girl, because I am that person. I love adventure. but I don't love adventuring by myself because it's the quality time aspect. And so I personally have missed out on so much time with my children and being able to make adventures with them because I've always waited for Kimmy. And this is just truth talk right now. It's really hard to find that self-discovery aspect in that when you're just waiting for someone else to do it with you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like one of those fun challenges you can give yourself, like an adventure a month, an adventure a week, whatever you need to do, right? Like,
you need an adventure mom. You need another adventure mom. Like, if you want to do like adventure with kids, personally, I'm just going to call myself out here. Personally, my adventures are for me. And their adventures are different than what I want to do. So we have our kid adventures, and then we have mom adventures for just mom, and they know it. Like, mom goes out and does outdoorsy thing, and I'm telling you, the perfect days are the ones you don't plan, are the ones that you have a destination. The very most perfect day that I had was going to Turkey Run, that first time that I went to Turkey Run, and then we just like road tripped through everywhere because I'm not as good at adventuring by myself, and I'm directionally challenged, and I will get lost everywhere. But if you find your adventure
stuck
mom,
burning her clothes.
you have a lot of adventure moms here. Like, yeah, I think that is something that you could definitely like create. That's super cool.
I love that, Natalie. Thank you for sharing. Tara, what are your buckets?
Well, outside of marriage and all that stuff, homeschooling is new for me, so that stuff I can share about. You know how that is. But one thing that I tend to feel like I should be sharing more often, but I hold myself off because sometimes it's just a really, really tough topic. Mental health, not just for me, like for example, for your loved ones, for those in your family. Like, the last 2 days have been mentally taxing on me because my husband is dealing with mental health issues at the moment, and it's not like, don't get me wrong, he's not going crazy on me, but he's dealing with the death of his brother and his mother still. It's still really fresh for him, well, all of us, but and his being stuck at home, like, he loves it, but he's definitely not used to it. So it's like, it's very something big in my life because, you know, as mom, you're taking on the kids' mental health, your mental health, your husband, and depending on your situation, you might be dealing with, you know, extended family mental health, you know, and I don't know. Lately, I've just felt like I need to share more about it, but I kind of pull myself back because I won't air out any like laundry kind of thing. It wouldn't be like that, but it's just, I think people need to be more aware. But I think that's my biggest bucket, and I hate to say that, but I don't know. Because yes, I have so much other crap I could be writing, and like, I do enough in my day. Like, I could talk somebody's ear off, but I want to give them what they want to hear too, not sugar-coated shit. I just want to give them my real stuff that they can take something away from it, you know? So,
For sure.
I don't know. That's the biggest bucket for me at the moment, I think.
I love that because I think it's so real, especially as a mom, and especially, you know, being married or having someone else depending on you. You can't share their stories necessarily, right? Like, that's off bounds.
Right.
Like, you can't share that, but you can share different things that you're doing Maybe it is getting him out of the house and going on an adventure. Maybe you're not saying like, hey, my husband's struggling, so I'm taking him to the park, right? Like, but you can talk about the time you're spending together. You can talk about wanting to see him smile, different things like that. And so that's beautiful. And I'm excited to watch how you share about that and watch how you go through the journey of carrying other people's burdens, because this mama knows it's so damn heavy.
It's
I
tough.
hate it.
It is. And I'm terrible of like, even when it, you know, there's I don't know. I'm the carer. I want to pick you up. I want to fix you. I want to fix it. Whatever it may be, I want to be the fixer. And I can't.
Tara, I love you so much. I feel you in my freaking soul right now, like 100%. I was on your journey. I really was. I said those same words that you're saying right now. I just want to share all the hot mess, and I want to fix all the people. Tara, and I just want to tell you how amazing you are. And remind you of that, because I carry a lot of burdens too, and a lot of us do. A lot of us do, but there are some personalities that are just empaths, and we just feel it deeper. And there's nothing wrong with someone that doesn't or someone who does.
Right.
Just know,
Right.
I feel you. You got sister here. Like, just share the way you feel like you should, and the rest is going to come out in the wash.
Right.
You're going to get better.
There's so much, it's so much beautiful stuff. You have to show them the ugly.
Yes.
The crap you don't want.
Yes. And at the same time, we have to share the ugly and the icky, but also flip it and be like, this is what I'm doing to be
Look
better.
at what came from it.
Yes.
Yeah. Look what came from it.
You're going to touch lives by just helping your own family, and that's really important. So don't ever hold yourself back from sharing something. But I understand there's a lot of things I don't share either that are not my business and are not my place to be sharing.
Right.
But I understand that, like, and I know that everyone here does too. But gosh, that hit me right in my gut. Like, you're amazing.
I'm a crier, by the way.
Same.
You've been drinking that cry juice. It's fine. Amy's with
I
you.
mean, you saw my comment. I literally grabbed my dog so that I was like, don't cry. I'm just going to start petting my dog now.
I think, though, that's the coolest thing about our job, too, though, is we get to take care of ourselves so that we can show up better for those around us, and we can be the inspiration for them and permission for them to feel and to care for themselves. So the best thing that you can do in this situation is care for you unrelentlessly and sharing that through the process. I do have some tips over in the chat that I shared while Amy was talking, so definitely check those out if they are helpful for ideas. All right, anybody else want to share their buckets before we move on? All right, I won't call on y'all. Saving it for later, don't worry. Coming after you. Okay, so digging into your life. So how can you turn your struggles into your tools? And we kind of talked about this a little bit. How can, let's say we're going through a rough patch in our marriage, right? Like, how can I share different things that I'm doing in my marriage to make sure that that's my focus, to make sure it is abundant, to make sure that it is exceptional, because I don't ever want you to live anything less than exceptional life, right? Like, I don't care what it is. It better not be mediocre, because you don't deserve that. You deserve more. And so right now, this is me just saying, if your marriage is mediocre, gut check. If your relationship is mediocre, gut check. Do you want it to stay that way? Because if you don't do something about it, it won't change. How can you show up in your life to grow that And I'm not saying, again, don't air your dirty laundry like, oh my gosh, my marriage sucks. I haven't had sex in 3 months. Me and my husband fight every single night. Like, you don't have to say that. You can simply just say, like, hey, we want to start doing date nights every week. Hey, I love my husband, so I'm doing this thing called the love dare, or I just sent him a nice text, or I made him his favorite dessert, or whatever it is that you're doing. I don't know your husband's love language. What can you do to improve your marriage to get it to a place that you want it to be? Same with motherhood. Maybe your kids are total jerks, and you kind of want to throat punch them. Maybe we're having discipline issues. Maybe we're struggling with anxiety. Maybe we're struggling through homeschool or remote learning or whatever that may be. If it's a struggle for you, how can you take it from being mediocre or worse, turning it into an exceptional situation? It takes growth. It takes time. The cool thing about that is you get to focus on what you want to grow. You have lots of content because it's going to take you a lot of time to get through it. And you and the other person on the side of this, so in this example would be your children, are going to benefit. Do they see crazy mom every day? Have you been drinking your shake, right? Like, how can you correlate those? How can you share how it makes a difference? Those are just little things, how you can turn your struggle of momhood, mom guilt, crazy mom, like all of that, struggle with keeping the house clean, whatever that may be, into creating content with your audience. Is it doing one load of laundry every single morning and being done with it for the day, right? Like, I don't know. These are ideas, and I want to share the ideas with you because I can't give you examples for your life. You have to do the inside work there so that you can come up with creative examples. And maybe you're like, Deidre, I don't know how to share about thrifting, but I really love thrifting. Then just reach out and I'll try and brainstorm. But at some point, you have to be willing to be creative. I want you to go back to your 7-year-old self and use your damn imagination. Right now, I'm giving you permission to create whatever future you want. I don't care what you want it to look like. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks it should look like. It's up to you. So maybe you're struggling with budget, right? Like maybe you lost your job. Maybe this virus has totally flipped your whole life upside down. Maybe you're wanting to pay off debt. Maybe you have student loans that you're wanting to tackle. Sharing with your audience how you're going through that is the game changer because you have to show up for your own accountability and you're sharing tips with them. Same with travel, and we can go on and on. The goal is to create love and trust, right? You want your audience to know who you are because right now you're at a point in your business where it's no longer just people you know. You should be building new relationships with complete strangers. And if you aren't doing that, this is me telling you, you're not doing your job. Our job is to make friends, and that's really freaking cool. And then once you add them to your network, your job is to let them know who you are, which again, go above to everything we've talked about. Dig into your buckets, dig into what makes you happy. Create that they know you so that they can love you, so they can decide whether or not you're their social media bestie, to decide whether you guys get along or you don't get along. And it's okay if you don't. You're not for everyone, and you don't need to be for everyone. You need to be like others, be there for others who are like you so that they have permission to be like themselves. Let them fall in love with your quirky attitude. Let them fall in love with your morning dance parties. Let them fall in love with all the little things that make you so incredibly special. And then, because you're sharing authentically, because you're giving tips, because you're showing that you are walking the walk, they trust you. Give your audience everything. Give them everything. Give it freely. Give them tips. Give them tricks. Give them recipes. Give them everything you wish you had on day one. When you live in abundance, guess what you receive? You receive that back tenfold. But if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't tell them anything about their nutrition, and I'm only saving the meal plans for people in my groups, and I'm not even going to talk to anybody until they say yes, you're literally pushing them out of your life. And guess what? You're not going to have anyone coming at you because they don't know you, they don't love you, and they're never going to trust you. But when you're giving it away freely, and if you don't already follow Gary Vee, I highly recommend following Gary Vee because this is literally what he preaches. Give freely so that they know they're ready for it. They can be like, oh my gosh, think of that girl who has given me meal plans every month for the past year. Oh, that girl who's always answered my questions. Amy Bly is a great example of this. For 3 years, she would randomly ask me questions, and she would always tell me, no, I'm not ready for that. No, thank you. But guess what? Guess who she went to every time she had a question? Me. And guess who answered her question graciously? Me. You have to let your audience know that you're there readily available to answer their questions. And I'm not saying be at your phone 24/7. There's a difference in that. Let them know that you're here for them. Let them know that they can trust you. Let them know that no matter what they're struggling with, you're going to be their cheerleader. Let them know you. Let them love you. Let them trust you. And now, this might be a little bit of a gut check too. You're a health and fitness coach. That's literally what you're showing up for every single day, right? Are you becoming an expert in the field, or are you just becoming an expert at taking sweaty selfies? Are you actually showing up for your health and fitness and your wellness and your mental wellness? Are you showing them that you're walking the walk, or are you just taking your selfie and moving on with your day, right? You can't help others if you aren't helping yourself. And I'll refer back to when I was talking about the nutrition and the mental health and all that. If you're not sharing it, if you're not showing them that you're doing it, they don't trust that you're doing that. They don't believe that that's necessary. If all you're showing is the workouts, guess what? All they're going to be interested in is the workouts. They don't know that you're drinking a shake because you never show them that. They don't know that you're following a meal plan because you never show them that. They don't know that you're eating healthy because all you show is your pizza and your nachos and your beer, right? They don't know that. You have to show them that you're walking the walk. You have to show them that you're willing to show up, make sacrifices, and do what it takes to reach your goals. Your job as a coach is literally to be held accountable in real time as you go through this life. I want you to live so loudly in who you want to become that you become the person who's known to go to. They know. If someone thinks about health and fitness in Greenup, Illinois, guess who they think about? Me and Kyra. That's it. Like, they think of me and Kyra. Why? Because we have been very unapologetic in what we are doing. We show up for that and we share it authentically. Don't be afraid to live big. I remember last year probably, my sister was like, man, you're getting the whole town skinny. They all want to be here with you. That's what you want, friends. You want everyone to sit at your table. You want them to know they have a place. You want to share authentically by showing up so that they know they can turn to you. Be the expert in the field. Be the person that they come to. Okay? What do you have to offer? And I think most important with all of this is that you have to realize I'm no different than you. I'm so freaking regular. I'm so average. And there's nothing special about me. But that's the cool thing. That's what makes me so incredibly special. I'm the only person who's gone through my experiences. I'm the only person who's gone through my struggles. I'm the only person who's lived this life that I have right now, who's been grown up and shaped and gone through everything to get me to where I am today. Same for you. You are the only person who's lived through what you've lived through. You are the only person who was raised by the humans you were raised by and taught and molded into this human you are today. You are the only person who responded X, Y, and Z to the outside world. You are the only person who went through that really hard thing and you don't know how to deal with it. You're that only person who's lived a normal freaking life and you feel no special, right? Like, whatever life has given you, that's what makes you so unique. You are made on purpose with purpose. And when you can recognize that and quit comparing yourself to everyone else around you, quit telling yourself that you can't show up this way because that's not how she shows up, that's when you're going to feel so incredibly empowered. That there's no difference between who I am, who you are, who Danielle Natoni, Melanie Mitro, Ashley Molstead are. We are our own people. We have our own truths. And when you can live in yours and when you can show up for yours, that's when your coaching business will thrive. Recognizing that you are your story. And there are other people out there who are dealing with infertility, who are dealing with homeschooling, who are dealing with family deaths, who are dealing with feeling totally alone, who are dealing with not having mom friends, who are dealing with struggling with nutrition. So many different things out there, right? There's someone else out there who's doing the same job you are. You're not the only human on earth. But they can't relate to you because you're not sharing it. So this is me calling you out on your responsibility. Coaching isn't just about making sure you look like an Insta model. It's not just about sharing your sweaty selfie. It's not just about getting through the day. It's not just about check marking the boxes. It's about living your truth and being that authentically. It's about shining the light so you can show other people where to go. So that's what I have for you today. If you guys have any questions, please unmute yourself. I hope this was really helpful in kind of giving you ideas on what content to create.
I loved all of that because, I mean, obviously I've been posting forever, but especially right now, like I need that refresh, that reset, that reminder. Like, it was great. Thank you.
I personally feel like I'm okay with my stories. It's just the actual posts that I suck at.
For
And
me,
that's what I'm working.
a lot of it is like I'll just get busy and I'll forget. So that's why I personally do the kind of like post idea planning on Sundays so that I can reflect on how my social media did and I can give myself ideas for the week to come. Not everybody's a planner, and I understand that. I'm okay with that. I'm not telling you have to be a planner to be successful. My whole business up until this past year, I've been totally successful just going by the seat of my pants, right? Like, because I love posting in the moment. But if you live a busy life, sometimes that can't happen, right? So for me, kind of having ideas or scheduling ahead of time is super helpful. And then I can remind myself like, hey, don't forget this week you have to take a picture about this so you can talk about this thing. So, and I think a lot of it is getting in the habit of taking pictures or like setting an alarm, like Instagram post, you know.
Also, if you like struggle with what to say, sending it to someone and have them like look at like, what do you think of this post? Like I do that often to Deidre. I think I've done it to a couple other girls too. Like, does this make sense, or how would you word it a little differently? And that helps as well. Just someone else looking at it. Or sometimes I think I stole some wording from Amy. I've stolen some wording from Natalie. I've stolen something from Faith. Like bounce ideas off of each other too. Not like the full post, obviously, because your story's different, but just stuff like that. It's helped me at least in the last month or so.
And I think, Michelle, over time, you're just going to get more comfortable with saying what you want to say.
Exactly.
Looking back at like very first posts that I made, I'm like, oh God! But you know, when you know better, you do better.
Exactly.
I still send posts.
Same.
Like,
yeah.
Tell me if this looks good. Can you tell me if this makes sense? Can you tell me if this is getting my message across?
Well, I think that's the biggest thing. We sometimes can't get our thoughts out. And so having someone else be like reading through it is so helpful. So
yeah.
I have to literally do voice to text while I'm driving in the car or while I'm almost about to jump in the shower because it always happens right after I work out.
Yep.
Or while I'm driving.
Yeah.
Voice to text like what you're gonna post. Like that's how you talk out your post.
Yeah, I literally just word vomit, and then later I'm like, why did I put Tim instead of, you know? Okay.
Hi.
I have to like, it takes me forever to figure out what I actually am trying to say, but.
I have Google Docs full of posts.
Yep.
Yeah, and see, I do that in notes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of planning it. I never even thought of doing that. Like you think of meal planning, but I never even thought of like, okay, on this day I can post about this. Like obviously you guys have probably picked up on every Friday I post date night and I do something different every week, but like having an idea ahead of time, that's genius. Girl, this might keep you around.
So I have that. I set a plan, but then it's just like doing it.
Yeah. Alarms in my phone is what I have.
Having a plan and then being flexible with the plan, I think.
And that's where I probably struggle too, because I'm like, oh, this day I have to post about this, and then it doesn't like go with the day, or like.
But you already have an idea that you can use for another day. Like if that is even something that,
Yeah.
work. Because
Maybe
there's
even
no
have like
rules.
Even
There's
have
no
like a journal or an idea journal too, and then like just cross them off or whatever, or go back and like word it a different way a month later or whatever too.
It doesn't have to be a Transformation Tuesday or a Food Tuesday
Yeah.
or a Face-to-Face Friday or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it can be what you want it to be.
Yeah.
So definitely.
All right. So was helpful with creating content and kind of giving you ideas of where to dig in, hopefully. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So
Thank you.
I am going to go ahead and stop recording.